Howdy do Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 222.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect. But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm the doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Hey up, Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Sorry, I was distracted then by that. I thought Christopher Eccleston had walked into the room.
Hey up.
Hey up, rules, look out. Dalek coming.
Every planet's got a north.
Yes. Oh, Chris.
Oh, Chris. We miss you. Could do with a little Chris right now.
Did I see that he's just set up on? He's just appeared on Instagram, Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, could have done.
Yeah, I think I saw. I think I saw on Twitter that he's just appeared on Instagram, which is a bit weird. Yeah, but yeah, don't know why. Why has he suddenly decided to do that? Maybe he took a picture and thought, "Oh, that's a good one. What can I? How can I share this? Or which social media shall I choose?" Good old Insta.
Yeah, well, there are quite a few fake Eccleston Instagram accounts.
Yeah,
so you have to be weary. That he's got a verified badge. Yes, he is on there.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I think he literally has just decided to join it. Yeah.
Yes.
God, whatever next? Tennant doing a podcast. Chris on Insta.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, we'll have Matt on. What can Matt join?
MySpace.
Oh, the day! Oh, what a blast from the past! MySpace,
the old MySpace pages.
Oh, I used to love MySpace.
Dear. Yeah,
I've still got an account somewhere. I can't get into it. It's like one of those I set up years ago, and I used to love it. I used to post loads of pictures, and then don't know what happened, but everyone just stopped using it, didn't they? Everyone went over to Facebook, and now I just can't get into it. I'm locked out. It's like a time capsule that just floats through space of some photos from 20 years ago.
Yeah. There's nothing Doctor Who related on Chris's Instagram.
Oh.
Nothing at all.
No.
Yeah.
How many pictures has he uploaded?
He's uploaded 36.
Has he?
So far, yeah. It's all going swimmingly. He's got just shy of 2,000 followers.
Oh, nearly as many as me. Joke.
Cheeky.
I think I've got about 30. No, actually, I do love Insta. Yeah, you use Insta. I do love a bit of Instagram.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Who doesn't use Insta?
Exactly, yes.
Is the more relevant question. But yeah, Chris is on there, so you have to look for the little verified, little blue check circle thing. Yeah. Yes. Welcome, new listeners. Waving to anyone that's just jumped on board and have checked out the show and you're listening now. and you've subscribed, thank you very, very, very much. Grizzled Ancients, our old-time listeners, welcome back. Good to have you on board, as always. If you don't subscribe to our show, then head over to any of the podcast networks, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, all that stuff. We're all on there. Give us a sub so it plonks nicely into your list on a Friday morning. Yes. Coming up in today's show, we have no news at all. Very barren. It's sort of ups and downs at the minute. Last week we had loads of news. It was very good.
Yeah.
And this week we have nothing. But we do have some decent merch, though.
Yeah,
So
we've got
that'd
some
be
good merch bits, yeah. And I know they're filming Series 12 at the minute, but we haven't seen or heard anything. Chris is keeping it all, all the buttons tightened, and it's all very top secret again, isn't it? Which is fine. But yeah, I've not seen anything. I saw a picture of them at the airport going off to wherever it was they were flying off to film. But I think that's the only thing I've seen so far.
Yes, same for me. I've not seen any... well, it's very, very locked. It was quite locked down previously, wasn't it, before Chibbers? But now it's very much like Fort Knox, Area 51 style. You're not getting anywhere near it. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, they are filming, aren't they? They started that last month, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, they've definitely started. Yeah. There might have been a few pictures of I think I've seen a few sort of pictures of them outside their trailer vans, messing around, that sort of thing. No filming pictures. I think there's been a few just of the gang filming.
Yes.
Just messing around. So yeah, but I haven't seen any filming pics. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So if they're filming now, I mean, it's only March, and newer Doctor Who is not going to be out this year, is it? It's 2020.
Oh,
Doctor Who is landing. So if it's only March and they're already into filming, I'm going to say that there are no excuses for poor visual effects come 2020, because they would have had so long to do all of that cool post-production stuff. So the editing should be absolutely bang on and crisp and fluid. The visual effects should be awesome and stuff, because they've had so long in post-production. I'm expecting it to be another level. Up from what we had from Series 11. So
yeah, and they were pretty good in Series 11, to be fair, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They were definitely a step up from Series 10, and certainly from, was it Series 9 where we just kept saying, oh dear, they really slashed the budget.
Right.
Yeah. That's right, because actually Series 10 wasn't too bad, but yeah, Series 9 had a few dodgy icicle planets and things, didn't it? So, but yeah, Series 11 actually looked pretty decent, didn't it?
It did. Yeah.
So yeah, see what they can come up with. I hear that Jodie's got a new coat as well, which I can imagine Chibbers waiting in the wings, ready to cover her up after every time they shout cut. He's just there ready to cover her. No, don't let anyone get a photo of it. So yeah, here she's got a darker coat, which reminds me of the McCoy thing, if it's true. You remember how they changed McCoy's jacket to make him a darker Doctor?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which I always thought was quite strange. So you give him a dark jacket because his character's getting darker. It's a strange way of thinking, but I hear that's what they've done with Jodie. Well, I don't know that her Doctor's getting darker. It'd be nice if she did. I think it'd be interesting to see them trying to do something with her Doctor, but yeah, it's that's what I hear, that they've given her a darker jacket. So it just made me think of the McCoy era. I thought, I wonder if they're going to try and do that, but probably not. Probably just giving her a new jacket.
Just a new jacket for the sake of it.
Yeah, for the sake of it.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea, though, that McCoy's Doctor is almost like a visual cue. Like as he starts to get a bit darker in his personality, his attire is also darker as well. It's like, I don't know what the word is, like cognitive. So as the viewer sort of has it, in their mind, like, oh, the Doctor looks darker, so they associate that with his darker personality. I like it.
Yeah, no, I do as well. Although I've always preferred the lighter jacket, but yeah, I like the darker Doctor. If you see what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, I like that idea.
Who knows?
Who knows? Hey, I was thinking, talking of who knows, I was listening to the intro. I was thinking, because it's getting longer and longer, our intro, obviously, every time we get a new Doctor. And there's that bit where Matt's Doctor's talking about being the curator, and I was thinking, we should put the curator quote in there as well. Like, who knows? Then the show can just be like 90% intro. We can just say, hello, fans. Yeah, we didn't like this week's episode. Goodbye. And then we can cut. And it'll be just...
Well, there is the danger, isn't there, that
Well, we could have Cushing in there, could we? I mean, where do you say we could have Cushing's Doctor in there? We could have Tom Baker's curator in there. We could have the Shelker Doctor in there.
Very true.
Yeah, we could have. There must be loads. Let's get them all in. Let's just have a half an hour musical intro.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. Yeah, I mean, there's the variation on Hartnell from the Five Doctors.
Oh,
there's,
Hundrell.
Yeah. There's probably a bunch of sound bites from various Doctor Who plays that have been on over the years. Yeah. Could probably drag those in as well. Yeah, just have like a 25-minute intro.
Is it? Yeah. We could have. What's the Doctor? Is it the Chase? Oh, I'm trying to think now. Is it the Chase, where they've got sort of a double of the Doctor as well that looks nothing like Hartnell? Is it the Chase or is it Space Museum? Can't remember now.
It's one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, the double of Hartnell that looks nothing like him. Because I think that's the one where they have the fight and it's hilarious.
Yeah. A couple of people did ask actually over the years, or have asked, over the years about why we haven't got Cushing's Doctor in there. Cushing's Doctor.
See, I really like the Cushing films. It's a real difficult, do you consider him canon or not thing, isn't it? I probably wouldn't put him in there, but I love him.
No,
I love him.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in there for that very reason. I don't think it's definitely not considered.
It doesn't
canon,
quite fit because they're remakes. You see, that's the thing. If they were sort of standalone stories, but they're sort of remakes of Hartnell episodes, so they're sort of. I don't know. I can't really. Although there is some. I think there is a comic from way back when that they managed to do a story that made them canon. So it's like an alternative universe Doctor or something. I can't remember, but so there. I think someone found a way to make it canon, but I don't think we could put him in.
No,
I'm afraid.
Sorry, Peter.
No, sorry.
You have to wait by the stage door, I'm afraid.
Yeah. We should talk about LFCC.
LFCC Spring. Yeah,
because we were there at the weekend.
We sprung into action.
Well, actually, we were there on the Saturday. We just did the one day this time, didn't we? So, we scaled it back to the one day, which actually, for me, worked really, really well. I think I was a little bit hesitant about it because I found last year's July event really hard going. It was so packed, wasn't it? It was boiling hot, just rammed to the rafters. To be fair, they had a great guest list. They had all the Doctors last year, pretty much. But it was just a case of the whole weekend just running around trying to get photos and all. It was not a fun event. But this one that we've just done, I really enjoyed. What did you think? It was a much more scaled back version. So instead of having both sides of the Olympia, they just had one side, which is weird because it's almost like a mirror, isn't it? They have sort of these two. What would you call it? Two big rooms, two big halls, levels, really. Giant halls that look identical. Because I could always get lost thinking I don't know which side I'm in because they are literally like a mirror. Yeah. But so one of them was shut this time and it was just one side open. So it's much more scaled down. And the thing I liked about it was we were there on the Saturday, which sold out. So I was expecting it to be another sort of cram fest. I thought, oh no, it's going to be packed, but it wasn't. It was really, really. I mean, it was busy, but it was really comfortable, wasn't it? We were walking around. It didn't feel sort of too claustrophobic. I only had a couple of photo shoots, so there was none of that sort of pressure of got to go, can't stop, got to do that. I really enjoyed it actually. We even found time to go for a sneaky pint. We went out and went back in again, didn't we? So because we'd sort of done all the stalls, and that's the other thing. Normally, I think last year. I was there both days, and I remember saying to you on the Sunday as we were leaving, well, I haven't got to look around any of the merchandise stores. I've just literally spent the whole weekend rushing around trying to get all the stuff I've paid for, like all the photo shoots and stuff. This time we got to look at all the stalls. In fact, we did them about 3 times, didn't we? We were just wandering around. We were like, well, we've kind of done it all. Let's sneak out for a pint because I had a photo shoot with John Sim at like 5 o'clock, so we had like 4 hours, didn't we? That's right. And we were all done. We were like, let's go and have a sneaky pint. So I really enjoyed it. It was a really, really much better event than the July one last year, which I just found too busy. But how did you find it? What did you think?
Yeah, I like this one because it felt like it was a good atmosphere. There was quite a few people there because they sold out on the Saturday that we were there. Yeah, so it was good. It was busy. It felt busy, but it didn't feel like you were being boxed in or trampled on by anybody. It was
no.
Yeah, it was nice. And it was handy having just one hall open because I got really confused because I didn't realise that they only had one hall open when I first walked in. So as I'm walking around, I thought, oh, where am I? Am I still in the same hall? No. Yes, I am. Yeah. So it was weird to get my bearings because, like you said, it's like the carbon copy of the other one when they had both of them open. So that was cool. And I feel like that was a comfortable limit for the amount of people that were there.
I thought it was spot on.
Yeah, me personally, I feel like the last couple of years, especially last year, it was completely over capacity, especially on the Saturday.
Me too.
And I would say, and I don't want to land showmasters in hot water or anything, but I would say that if there was a fire or an emergency or something, if something happened last year, I don't feel that I would have got out of there comfortably quick enough.
Oh, it would have been. Actually, do you know, I dread to think actually last year, because you couldn't even get to the sort of photo studios. You were just constantly pushing through queues of people queuing to meet the get autos, and you literally couldn't move, could you? It was really uncomfortable last year.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful. Yeah,
but I dread to think actually.
It's not nice to think about because I mean, a lot of people were saying it as well when we were bumping into people and chatting to people. The theme that came up in the conversation was, isn't it hot? Isn't it too busy? Isn't it just ridiculous? You know, and there were people that had to get to another photo shoot, but because that one they were in overran, they had to leg it to the other end of the venue, and even then they were cutting it really close. So for me personally, I think showmasters need to either really need to look at another venue somewhere, or they just need to just say, look, we've made enough money now. let's not overcapacitate the venue, because heaven forbid, you know, touch wood, if something nothing's happened, which is good, but if something was to happen, I don't feel like, because there's only like 1 or 2 stairwells on the top level.
Yeah,
and that's where all the big photo shoots were at the end of that day. Tennant was up there, Eccleston was up there, some other people, and the amount of people that were there cramming down that stairwell would have been a disaster. So I was really happy that it didn't feel like that. It felt like you could walk comfortably around for the most part. There were little pockets of busyness around the photo shoot area, but other than that, it was really cool. And I had a really chill day as well. I didn't book any photo shoots, didn't have any autographs. I was just happy just to be there and chat to people and pick up a few bits of merch. It was nice. You're
right. It was a great atmosphere as well. Like there was some absolutely awesome cosplay, wasn't there? I mean, there always is, but I think because it was less busy, we actually could appreciate, you know, we could actually see them rather than it just being a mass group of people. We actually got to see some amazing cosplay, loads of Star Wars. I mean, you must have been in your element.
Awesome.
The Chewbacca, the amount of Chewbaccas we saw was incredible, and they were really good as well, weren't they? I don't know how they make those suits; they just look brilliant.
Awesome.
Lots of stormtroopers and Darth Vaders and goodness knows what. So yeah, it was a really, really good atmosphere. Like you said, just so much more. It made me. I'm glad it was like that, because I think I said famously last July, right, I'm just never doing this again. This is just not fun. I lost my nut last year, didn't I? It was horrible. Yeah. But I enjoyed it a lot on Saturday, and I'm glad, because it's, you know, it makes me want to do more of them, and I do enjoy them when they're like that. So yeah, you didn't meet anybody. You were tempted with Peter Mayhew, weren't you, with Chewbacca, but Price was just a little bit.
Yeah.
And he wasn't dedicating as well, which that was the decider for you, wasn't it? As soon as you saw that he wasn't dedicating his autographs, you were like, I'm not paying like 65 quid for a Scribble.
I think it was 50.
Was he 60 for
50?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Yeah, like it was just a very generic, you know, with love, Peter. You know, that's great. You know, it's good, but yeah, I only get autographs if it's, you know, to Gary. You know.
Yeah, I know you mean. Yeah, if it's dedicated.
Yeah, you met a couple of peeps though, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I met. So I got a picture with John Sim. He was the main reason for me going. Really, was John Sim. Well, not the main reason for going, but he was the sort of one I really wanted to meet out of all the guests they announced. Because I think he hasn't done that many. I don't think he's done that many cons in the UK, as far as I'm aware. No. He does have a bit of a reputation as well. I know in the past he's talked about how he, you know, found it annoying after playing the Master, how he was sort of hassled everywhere he went. I know he said, you know, I was like in the supermarket and I can't even buy my groceries without someone coming up to me and it does my head in. And so I know he's got a bit of a grumpy reputation. But he seems to, and I think that's going back a couple of years. I'm talking about, when Sound of the Drums went out, that sort of time. So I think over the years, that's sort of probably, edged off a little. And he seems to have sort of mellowed a bit. And he was really, really nice. I know he's being paid to be there, so obviously you'd expect him to be nice. But he did seem to be having a good time. He was really, really friendly and smiley to the people he was meeting, and everyone that I spoke to that managed, because I didn't get an autograph because the queue was just ridiculous. And that is the other thing about LFCC. I've kind of given up even trying to get many autographs now, because unless you buy a £150 diamond pass, you haven't really got any chance of getting the big celebrity autographs now. Unfortunately, it's not like sort of 4 or 5 years ago where you can just walk to the table. So I didn't get John's autograph, but people who did said he was really, really nice and chatty and stuff. So, but I did get a photo shoot with him, and I got a photo shoot with Bernard Cribbins, which I was very pleased about, because I love Wilf. He's one of my favourite characters. I absolutely love Wilf. He was just going balmy in the photo studio. He seemed to be having an absolute ball. But I think he was also being a bit of a headache for the poor old photographer, because he just wouldn't sit still, or, every time someone come up, he was doing something different. Like he was moving his arms around and pretending to pick his nose. And I was thinking, oh God, don't do that in my shoot. I would have hated that. I think about 3 people before me pretended to put his finger up his nose, and I was thinking I would hate that. I was thinking, God, what's he going to do in mine? So it's getting closer and closer, and one person, he was sticking 2 fingers up at the camera, and then the next one he was pulling a silly face, and the other one after that he was doing jazz hands, and I was thinking, oh God, what's he gonna do? Because I thought, oh, please don't do something bad. But he just, I sort of thought, if I point at him and do the classic "look who I'm with," he'll do it back, and that's exactly what he did. So I did the classic, point to him, he pointed to me, and oh, thank goodness it was a good photo, because he was trying to be fun. I mean, he was fun. He was just trying to be, let's have some fun with this. But sometimes, myself, you just want a nice smiley pic. You don't really want that sort of, I don't know. Some people will love it. Some people won't, if you know what I mean. And I think some people were just a bit like, oh, I didn't really want the picture with him. Pretended to put his finger up his nose, you know what I mean? It was a bit. Anyway, he was having fun, and it was great, to see that. I also met Vanette Robinson, who played Rosa in Rosa. She was really, really nice, actually. I did manage to get an autograph from her, which was cool. And the only other person I got on Saturday was McCoy, who he was wearing this. Is it purple or blue? Because I'm a bit colourblind. Anyway, he was wearing was it blue? Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, TARDIS blue. He was, he was wearing this really fetching sort of bowlerish type hat. Mm-hmm. He just looked like a dude, and I have got his autograph a few times before. So I was like, I'm not going to get him this year. But then he had the Time of the Rani photo that I didn't get last time, and I was like, oh, that's it. He's wearing a cool hat. He's got the Time of the Rani picture. I'm going to get him again. And he was doing selfies at the table, which seems that a lot of them don't do now. And I thought, yeah. So I got a cool picture of the table with him, and I was pleased I got him again. Actually, he was in a great mood. So got a couple of autos, got some great photo shoots. I was really chuffed, actually. Had a really, really good day. I wish it could always be like that. I've got a feeling we're going to do the July one, aren't we? And they've got a couple of big guests for that, and I'm just hoping it's more like this one, but we'll see. I'm not filled with too much hope, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. It could be. Yeah, in terms of guests and so on, I'm not really too crazy right now.
Crazy right now. Yeah.
So I know that there's some whisperings of some announcements coming this week on newer guests and stuff, and they normally announce people right up until the last week almost, it seems. So you never know. At the moment, I'm probably going to do what I did with this one with you guys, where I just go on the Saturday, maybe skip the Sunday, depends who's going to be there. But yeah, it's always a crazy ride.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword for me, because I'm thinking, in a way, I kind of hope they don't announce anyone too many that I want, because that was the nice thing about Saturday, was there was literally 3 photo shoots and that was it.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of thinking there is, I think at the minute, about 3 people I want to meet from the July one. One of them being Jenna Coleman, actually. I know I had a bad experience with her, but I'd like to get a proper photo with her. And William Shatner I'd like to meet. So I'm thinking, in a way, for me, it would be good if they don't add too many more people I want to meet, because then again, hopefully it'll be more of a chilled event.
Yes,
but
true.
we'll see. I've got a feeling they might. I mean, last year they just had everybody, didn't they? And I was thinking, are they going to try and outdo themselves again this year by adding loads more? We don't know. We've still got months, haven't we? So anything could happen with Showmasters, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want the quietest day, then it's worth booking a day off on the Friday and going on the Friday, depending on what guests they are. That's the quietest, obviously, for obvious reasons, are the 3 days. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? But we have talked about checking out one of the MVC. Is it MVC?
MCM.
MCM, sorry. One of the MCM events, haven't we? So
yeah, because I've never done one. Yeah.
When is the next one? I think they normally do one around the similar time to Showmasters in July. Is it May? May, and then one later on in the year, I think. Yeah, so the end of May is the MCM at the Excel in London. So we'll see what guests have been announced for that one. I know they do get some Who people from time to time. So we shall see.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. I've never done an MCM, and I do. The Excel is quite a good venue.
Oh, it's much better than the Olympia.
Because
the Olympia, as we said, gets so hot. But we did say, didn't we, that, well, this is going back a couple of months now, that there's been a big announcement about investment into the Olympia venue. They could, like £1 billion refurbishment or something. So hopefully on that list somewhere, there's the words air conditioning.
Oh, that would be nice.
So if they can upgrade the aircon, that would at least be a step forwards. But
it would. I'll tell you, I got there and I saw a friend of mine, Tracy, who I see at a couple of the events that I go to, and she said, "Oh, can we get a pic?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she posted it, and I look as red as a beetroot. I am absolutely frazzled. I'm just so hot in that picture, and I'm just like, "Oh my God!" But it was baking. When I first got there, it was just like, "Oh, yeah."
Crazy. Yeah.
So some aircon would be nice, yeah.
Yes, but we had a good time though at this one. We did have
it was good.
A good time, yeah. I don't know about you. I haven't been up to anything else. I don't know if you've done anything.
No, not related. At all. No, not since that.
Yes. On that note, then, shall we bring in old Grumpy Pants?
Yes. Let's see if he's got some good merch for us.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Robert Harrop. Those very cool people over at Robert Harrop that make the awesome looking little statues. They do, I was going to say for Doctor Who, but they do other stuff, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Not just Doctor Who, but anyways, they
do a lot of Jerry Anderson stuff, don't they?
That's right, yeah. But anyway, for Doctor Who fans, you've heard us speak on the show many, many times about Robert Harrop, and they posted a couple of updates recently. They put one out a little while ago, which I think we mentioned, which is like the pre-painted sculpt of Morbius, which looks really good. So they've just confirmed a couple of details for that. So that's almost about to go into production, apparently.
Yeah.
Which looks really good. I was wondering about it wasn't until I read the update that I wondered, because the original photo only had one of the sort of little eye stalks for Morbius. And it didn't have any ears or anything like that. So they just clarified and said, look, we only make one of the eye stalks because it's identical to the other one. So we make one, but then we, mass produce two of them. And we use that on a statue, and the same with the ears. But the biggest thing, or the coolest thing, is that the helmet part of it will be transparent. So you will be able to look through and see the little brain and on its little spinal cord and all that stuff. So that figure's looking really. I'm pretty sold on that one, mate.
You got to get one of those, mate.
Absolutely,
it's amazing. Yeah.
It's one of my fave Baker stories as well. It's such a
good one.
Good story, yeah. And the other thing, the more recent one, is Omega, the figure from the insert number of Doctors story here. What was it? The
Three Doctors.
Three Doctors, yeah. So yeah, Omega looks really good as well. I don't know about you, mate. So we haven't seen any final production photos as with Morbius. It's just the plain sculpt without any painters yet, but the pose is really, really good. The mouth, the facial expression looks bang on. The effect they've done for the fabric of his cloak and what he's wearing just looks so good. So I might have to part some cash with some cash to get that one too, because it looks so good.
I think they both look brilliant. I think these two figures are absolutely must-haves if you love the Harrop stuff like we do. They both look great, don't they? I mean, these are just the initial sculpts as well. I mean, these haven't even been painted yet, but they both look brilliant. I think Morbius was scheduled to come out first, but they've had this problem trying to get the glass dome right, haven't they? How they're going to do it and stuff, because they don't normally use anything like that on the figurine. So I think Morbius Omega has jumped forward to be the next release, but they both look brilliant, don't they?
They do, yes. And even though that we haven't got the final painted sculpt, Omega has got the thumbs up from the BBC, so that one's probably going to be out in the next month, I would say, month or two. And I'm not sure on Morbius. I hope they get it out pretty soon, because the figure is done. The whole thing's done and stuff. Like you said, it's just figuring out the correct. I imagine the correct material for the glass or the plastic dome, because I don't know, standard acrylic. I'm not sure if that'd be strong enough. Might be glass. I really don't know what it would be, but I imagine it just needs to be something strong enough, really, because you don't want to just tap it accidentally on something and it shatters. So
no, and that's the thing, they are delicate. I mean, I love these figurines, and I blimmin' dropped my Tetrap one while filming a review, and it smashed, his little gun smashed off in his ears, and I was mortified, because they only make a certain number of these, and as soon as they sell out, they go for really silly money on eBay. Well, not silly money, but they're about £150 when normally they should be 60.
Right.
And so you do have to be a bit careful with them. But they are beautiful, and also they're working on some upcoming releases based on Tomb of the Cybermen. So they're working on a Tomb Cyberman, the Cyber Controller, which I think will be brilliant. I love the Cyber Controller, and Cybermats as well. So that I just love the sound of what they're working on, everything they're working on at the minute. It just sounds like my wallet's going to be crying, because I just want it all. Quite frankly, there's nothing I've looked at and thought, maybe, or not sure about that one. Everything that they're working on at the minute, I'm just like, must get. But I think they're worth it. I love their stuff.
These two look good. Adam, you'll get Morbius.
Is that
Adam? You'll get Morbius now.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. What's he called? Kondo. Kondo one time.
Yeah, you get glass dome finish. You sell to people. No, it simply won't do.
He met a sticky end, didn't he? Poor old Kondo. Oh, great story. I feel like watching that now, actually.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Right, two lovely pieces coming out on vinyl for Record Store Day, which is the 13th of April this year. Record Store Day basically is really everything is tailored towards independent record stores. That's what it's all about. It's all about supporting your independent record stores, and they get these exclusive vinyls. So for example, as much as I love H&V, they're a retail store, so they don't get them. It's just your little independent shops, which does mean they're limited. They can be hard to find. Very often you'll find people queuing early in the morning to make sure they get in to get these things, because they can be very, very sought after. And there's two Doctor Who ones coming this year. Both of them, I think, look great. I think the artwork and the covers on these are really, really nice. It's a certain style. It's very much like the Dalek one that Amazon got recently. So it's that. I don't know if it's the same artist, but really nice covers. So we've got Destiny of the Daleks and Galaxy 4. Both going out. They're both limited to 2,500 copies, and I've got to, be honest. I would love to get my hands on these just for the artwork alone. A few people have said they're unusual story choices, especially Galaxy 4. People are like, "Oh, why do you want that on vinyl?" But I don't think it's that doesn't even. I don't even think along those lines. I just think they look great. It's Doctor Who on vinyl, and I'd love to get these. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I know what you mean about the artwork. They definitely have a certain style.
They're nice, yeah.
They're very, very nice. And they're kind of unique as well, because they don't feature the Doctor on the front or the TARDIS or anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of just a different vibe, really. It doesn't have the usual, let's put a picture of space with the stars in the background and the TARDIS whizzing through space and a big portrait of the Doctor. I like them because they don't feature the Doctor. So 2,500 copies each. Is that enough to spread across the UK's number of stores?
As long as people don't go around buying them all up and shoving them on eBay, which they tend to normally do, you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, as long as you don't have a B&M situation where somebody goes in. I do know that some, not all of them, but some record stores do say for the limited batches, which most of them are, that it's like 1 or 2 per customer. But not all of them do that though. So, yeah. Yeah, I know that will you go hunting for these? I'm pretty sure you will.
I would definitely. The thing is, there's no. I will. I mean, I don't know if I'll have any luck getting it because there isn't really an independent store near me. I've got H&V fairly close, but they don't get them obviously because they're not independent. So, yeah, I will have a look. I'm not holding out much hope, to be honest. If I manage to get them, then great. But I know last year the Tomb of the Sidemen and City of Death did end up on Amazon, which I thought was bizarre because I thought the whole point of these were they were exclusive to record stores, but apparently if they have any surplus stock at the end of it, apparently they do end up on Amazon, and that's how I managed to get the last 2 because I just couldn't find them anywhere else. Just to give you a little bit of information though, the Galaxy 4 one, it's obviously the TV audio and it's got linking narration from Peter Purvis. Peter Purvis, sorry. And the other one, Destiny of the Daleks, has got linking narration by Lala Ward. Lovely Lala Ward.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so it's good. As I said, if I can get my hands on them, if I can get my grubby little hands on them, I certainly will.
Yes, they do look nice.
Yeah.
More decorations for the shelf.
Yeah.
And that's it. So vinyls, let us know if you guys pick these up because, as Adam said, there was a lot of conversation around. I don't like these. I don't know why they're doing these.
Oh, it sees everything in the minute. Doesn't matter what it is.
I know.
As soon as it gets posted, I don't want this. That's rubbish. Why have you done? Oh, yeah.
So if you are one of these people that are up for it and you do manage to bag one, let us know and send us a pic because they do look good.
They do.
Moving on, the Macra Terror. For ages now, all we've had is a very temporary cover, sort of TBC in place for what these Blu-rays and DVDs, etc., might look like. And we now have a confirmed couple of pics for these. There's a couple of variations as well. The standard DVD and the standard Blu-ray, they all look the same. Sorry, they both look the same. And it's because this is an animated version of the story, because obviously the live action tapes and films have been lost. The cover reflects that. So it's got the animated version of Patrick Troughton on the front, standing in front of what looks like like these glowing eyes in the background. You see the big monster in the background, the Macra, with sort of glowing electrified stuff. It looks quite a dramatic cover. It looks very, very cool. And then the other version is the limited edition Steelbook Blu-ray, which does away with the animated version of Troughton on the front. It's just got the TARDIS in a cave, by the look of it, and it's got the Macra Beast at the back at the entrance of the cave, and you see his big crab-like claws and stuff as shadows and things like that. It looks really, really nice, the Steelbook. And then when you open the Steelbook up, the inside, front and back, make this sort of landscape image of the space station up on the cliff, which is in the animated style from the story. So that looks really good. And we've also got some nods to what extras are going to be on this as well. So just a very quick run through the audio commentary by some of the production and stars. So Fraser Hines, Terence Lodge, who played Medoc, Anthony Garner, Maureen Lane, plus the director John Davis are going to be commenting on the story. And that's going to be hosted by Toby Haydock, which is going to be a good laugh, I would assume.
Yeah, I like Toby.
There's going to be episode reconstructions. So some of the surviving frames from the original footage and photographs are going to be sort of mushed together with some of the unedited audio, just to show you a reconstruction of some of the live action stuff that they've managed to somehow hold on to. There's a bonus mini episode. So that's going to be a little 10-minute short, again, animated around the other lost episode from 1968 starring Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines. So that's going to be a little reconstruction there in animated form. There's going to be an animated test. So prior to this project going into proper production and being commissioned by the BBC, this is a short test to show you what the animation could look like and so on. There's the animatics, which is like storyboards for the animation. There's an animation gallery. There's a teaser trailer, which I assume is going to go out at some point to promote this. And I think they already put it out. I think that's already gone out, but it's probably going to go out again. There's an alternative black and white version if you don't want to watch the full colour version, which is always a nice little touch. There's the 1992 audio presentation. So the Beeb put out, as part of their audio collection, the Macra Terror on audio cassette, no less. So you get like a special narrated story by Colin Baker, in fact.
Good old Cole.
Which is good. Behind the scenes film. So back in 1967, a load of pre-production stuff for cameramen and visual effects and workshops. All that stuff is in there. Crikey. Censored scene. So a reconstruction of the scene from episode 2 that was heavily re-edited for the Australian transmission, which sounds interesting. Title sequences. You get to see the debut of the new title sequence for Doctor Who. And that's been remastered, by the way, in HD. The photo gallery, 36 photographs taken from the production of the original photography, and the production paperwork, which is a full set of camera scripts, audio schedules, floor plans, materials, all of that stuff, which you can look on your computer if your computer these days still has a DVD ROM drive or a Blu-ray ROM drive. So bags of stuff, mate, on disc 2 by the sound of it.
Yeah, they've really gone to town, haven't they? It's good.
That was a mouthful, yeah. So really, really cool, actually. But I know some people are sort of, yes, this is really cool. Some people are like, nah, I'm not too fussed about the animated reconstructions. But whichever way you spin it, we're still getting newer Doctor Who releases based on these old lost episodes, whether it's, the steel frames that they just put together with the audio in the background or a fully animated job. Either way, it's good. We get these stories in some shape or form, whether it's, I know it's one day they might turn up somewhere, someone's shed, there'll be a canister full of all these old films. But for now, this is as good as it gets, in my opinion. And loads of extras as well. Looks really good.
Lovely steelbook. I expect you'll be getting the steelbook, will you?
I've pre-ordered the steelbook.
Yeah. I that's the one I'm going for. The steelbook actually has some additional extras as well on top of all that stuff you just said. So you get Gridlock with an audio commentary and a Doctor Who confidential about Gridlock on the steelbook as well. So you get a few little added extras. But nice. Yeah, it looks really nice. Even the cover's grown on me. I remember when this was first sort of banging around on Twitter, this cover was unveiled, and I thought, I don't know about it, but now I see it, I actually really quite like it. Like you said, it suits the release, and I love the look of the steelbook. I think that's really, really nice. So yeah, I'll be going for the steelbook. Yeah, it looks nice. And, in terms of prices and stuff, I think the DVD's around £15. The Blu-ray is £17 or £18 or something. If you want the steelbook, the cheapest price at the moment is zoom.co.uk, which is $28.99. I think on Amazon it's still 30 odd quid, but it is. Yeah, I looked this morning actually.
Yeah, I think at time of release it'll probably be around £28 ish.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah. And finally on the merch table, we've got some new releases from Who Talk, which are basically these audio sets that you can buy. So it's like it's CDs that you can play along with the episode, which basically gives you an audio commentary. And these started out being for episodes that didn't get one on the original DVD releases. But they've been really popular, so they're carrying on the series. So the next two coming out, the first one is called Mars Attacks. And that's going to have commentaries on Ice Warrior stories from people like Adele Lynch and Richard Ashton, who played the Ice Warrior and Empress. What was she? Empress? The Empress in Empress of Mars.
Empress
so they're going to be
Mars,
giving commentaries on those episodes. And then the other release is called Resurrection, which is Resurrection of the Daleks. And that's got a commentary on it by Rula Lenska, Jim Findley, Brian Miller, Roger Davenport, and Eric Sayward.
Awesome.
Is on there as well, and a few other people as well. And these are really good. I bought a couple of the early ones when they come out because, as I said, it was interesting to get commentary. I think the Damons was one, for example, that didn't have
that one. Really
didn't have a commentary on the DVD. Yeah, and they're moderated by Toby Haydock, who, as we just said, is always really good because if the cast go a bit quiet or get too involved in the story, he tends to sort of wake them up and keep the conversation flowing.
Yeah.
So these are two very good releases, I think. As I said, I've got a couple of these to catch up on, really, because they seem to be really popular. They seem to be releasing them quite frequently now. So I've kind of lost track of where we are with them. But yeah, two good releases, I think. So Ice Warrior Collection and Dalek Collection.
Yes. And you get a special edition bundle as well. They do like a special edition bundle. So normally they're $9.99, which I think is really reasonable.
Yeah.
And they do a special edition where you get a second CD, which is $12.99. And the covers are signed by the cast and on the CD and stuff like that. There's a bit of extra bonus to it. So for a couple of extra quid, you can get a special edition one. But yeah, if you haven't checked these out, they're very, very good. I've got the Damon's one, which is really good. But apparently the Talons of Weng Chiang one is really good. So I need to pick that one up. So yeah, if you head over to phantompublishing.co.uk, you'll see them on there. They're just called Who Talk.
Who Talk, yeah.
Who Talk. Yes. So that's going to do for merch. Nothing else to go through. It's time to get scared.
Yeah. I'm coming to get you.
Right, what have we got this week?
Going to get you, gonna hurt you. It's this week is the 10th Doctor story, Fear Her.
A storm's approaching.
Mary, Mary, king of the bush is he. Love, kookaburra, love, kookaburra, gay your life must be.
They're not safe. They're in the garden.
Get them in, I'm begging you.
In the last 6 days, 3 of your children have been stolen. We need to find the source of that power.
These, they're kids' pictures. Now get out.
Chloe has a power. She's using it to snatch the kids.
Get out.
If living things can become drawings, then maybe drawings can become living things.
I'm coming. I can't. I can't.
Chloe, I'm coming to hurt you.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
That voice.
Chloe,
yeah.
You naughty, naughty girl. Fear Her. First broadcast back in June of 2006. And it was written by Matthew Graham, directed by Eurus Lynn. It stars David Tennant and Billy Piper, along with a sort of half a dozen supporting cast members. The synopsis, the blurb on this one is pretty simple, really. The Doctor and Rose land back in London for the 2012 Olympics, and they end up wandering into a seemingly random street or cul-de-sac, whatever, and it turns out that children are being snatched from the area, and it all leads back to this troubled girl who they think is doing bad things to the other kids, and it turns out she's been sort of possessed by a little alien thing that's sort of lost its way a little bit, and it needs company, essentially, and it doesn't have company, so it starts snatching people so that it can have company. Fear Her, Adam. What do you reckon to this Series 2 story?
I think straight away you can see that it was the low budget one because it's all very contained and there's a lot of it. It's all around that housing estate, all in the house. And it does come in for some flack, this one, doesn't it? A lot of people really slay it. I don't think it's a classic by any means, but I don't think it's as bad as some people say either. So I watched it again last night. I remember liking it on first, when it went out back in 1999, back in 2006. I remember thinking, I never thought it was great, but I remember thinking, that was all right. Watching it again last night, it's okay. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. It's one of those real middle of the road kind of episodes. I suppose you could say it's a bit filler, but I do think it's got a little bit more to it than that. I do think it's, the actual idea and the concept of all these drawings coming to life and stuff is quite interesting. So I think it's perhaps a bit harsh to call it filler. So I'm just going to say it's a bit middle of the road. I did find myself getting a bit bored in the middle. There's a lot of hanging around in the kitchen and nothing going on. But I don't think it's as bad as some people make out. I did find it quite watchable, to be honest. Even in the moments when I was sort of a bit bored, I thought, well, it's all right. But that's all I can really say is it's just all right. It's not bad. It's not good. And it does have a couple of nice moments in it. But yeah, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
But it's just an okay episode, I think. But I know some people absolutely think it's like, oh, it's the worst 10th Doctor story they ever made. And I'm like, no, it's not that bad. It's watchable, I think. I think it's watchable. But it ain't great. It's not a classic.
It's
what do you
no
think?
Classic, mate, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Did you find yourself falling to sleep, or did you think it was dreadful, or did you think it was much underrated? What did you think?
Yeah, so I don't want to sound like I'm following the crowd, but yeah, I can't. It's one of the stories that there's just something about it that just I can't seem to I can't get into it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I just can't get into the story. It's kind of got a strange production feel about it.
I know what you mean about that. Yeah,
it's like.
It feels low budget, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it kind of feels like the cast know it's low budget as well, and they're not really giving it their. Because Tennant's obviously good as usual, although I'm really not a fan of the open buttoned no tie look that he has in this one. And Billie Piper's okay, but I just felt like the supporting cast performances were very, very mediocre. Nothing stood out to me at all in this one. And Tennant and Piper, they're good. You know, they're good. You know, as they usually are. But it's just one of those things where after I've watched it, for the first part of my feeling is I've completely forgotten it already. Mm-hmm. You know, nothing really sort of stands out. And well, the bit that I was drawn to the most was the horror aspect of it. So the bit where Chloe can hear her dad in the wardrobe, you know, that really horrible, sinister voice, and just the words that are being used.
They're quite nasty, aren't they?
They are very
horrible.
nasty. And so I was drawn to that because it was just something that sort of made you your ears prick up and like, oh, hello, what's going on here? And the second thing was, it's like instantly forgettable for me. And the second thing was, I was just disappointed with like the lack of performance in the whole thing. It just felt very like paint by numbers, this one.
It's a bit flat. Yeah,
for sure. So I know a lot of the popular opinion on this one is, it's not good at all and it's pretty rubbish. And I do feel that way, but there are a couple of nice little nuggets in there, some really nice little bits that we'll touch on in a little while. But yeah, ratings weren't too bad. What was this? Over 7 million.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
For it. I mean, this was when Who was like really, you know, Tennant was Tennant's first series, you know, and he was very, very popular, wasn't he, back then? But yeah, we'll come on to a couple of things. So, what did you think to the whole story? Because the thing was around possession, I suppose. And denial and possession. So Chloe's mum, she's like, oh, nothing, you know, even though deep down
everything's
she knows,
fine.
Yeah, something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong. She's like, oh, everything's cool. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then the other thing was Chloe's possessed by something. And at face value, you think it's an evil thing. You know, are we going to go down like the cliched horror? Is it like an evil spirit or something like that? But then we find out it's this cute little floaty alien.
It's like a flower.
Yeah, like a little petal flower thing that's actually quite innocent, and the Doctor sort of a couple of times, I assume for the viewer's benefit, you know, drives the point home that this alien thing is the equivalent of a small child. You know, it doesn't mean to do these bad things, and it's, you know, it's just being a child. It's doing what kids do and stuff, and so it turns out to be not like this evil spirit sort of thing that they have to exorcise out of Chloe. It's just a, you know, I don't know. There's a couple of themes that we've seen many times before, but it turns out to, again, like the story overall falls just a little bit flat in terms of what's going on. So what do you think, just like story wise? Because it turns out the Olympics are going on, and that's
I think that was a slightly strange thing to do as well, because the danger of them, doing an episode set in 2012 with the Olympic Games when it's filmed in 2006, you're opening the door to it being inaccurate and dated, and it kind of is, because there isn't anything like what the Olympic Games was like. So that was a bit of a strange thing to do, because it doesn't really. Well, I suppose he throws the little spaceship into the thing at the end, but so I think that's a strange choice. I do like the idea of this sort of all the drawings coming to life and people disappearing. I love all that side of it, but I don't think it's executed very well, because even watching it last night, I still wasn't really that clear what was going on. I mean, I know they're snatching all the people because the thing's lonely. I get all that, but trapping them in drawings, I don't know, it seems like there's lots of good ideas there, but they don't quite connect for me in terms of sort of the story being fluid and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe some people totally got it, but I even watched it last night, I still didn't 100% quite understand what was going on and how things were happening. Like, how does the Doctor manage to draw the flame I don't know, if he can do that, can't he write and tell them what to do? And so I don't know, there were just little things like that just weren't very clear for me in the story. But as I said, some nice ideas, all this stuff. I thought the first sort of the pre-title sequence, before the music kicks in, when the old granny's going, get them inside, can't you feel it? I thought that was quite good. I thought, this is quite creepy. You got the music and the kid kicks the football, and then the kid in the goal disappears. I thought, this is not bad. This is a good little start to the episode. And then the music kicked in, and the TARDIS lands and gets trapped between the two things either side of it, and there's that nice little comedy moment with the Doctor. So the first sort of 5-10 minutes of it I thought were quite good. It's just literally just after the first 10 minutes that it really slows down, like when they're talking in the kitchen and more talking, and the story doesn't really progress anywhere. And I did think, sometimes we say about Matt Smith, even in a low power episode, we'll try and inject some fun into it. I felt Tennant was trying to do that in this episode, and I think he's very good at it, actually. But I can, almost like you said earlier, I almost feel like he read the script and thought, this is a bit subpar, so I've got to bring up I've got to put some oomph into this. He's really trying, and there's lots of comedy lines that come out, from the Doctor in this, and I think most of them land quite well. So I think Tennant's really trying hard to make this story better than it is, in terms of his sort of the banter between him and Rose. I think those two are sort of work actually surprisingly good in this one. This is my partner Lewis, and there's some nice lines between those two and stuff, and the Scribble monster, and there's some nice moments between Tennant and Rose in this. And I just think it's one of those episodes where normally Tennant doesn't really have to do that, but I felt he was trying quite hard to make this better than it was, and and I think in the scenes he's in, he actually does that. I think he's very good in it. But yeah, overall story wise, I think it's got some interesting ideas, but just don't quite connect up for me.
Yeah, I read you. Yeah. So I kind of reached. So I think in terms of story, one thing that I feel this falls down a bit on is we have a real lack of a visual monster or a visual alien or something. I know we get the nice little floaty thing towards the end. Yeah. But while the crux of the story and the midway point is that Chloe is possessed by something, it would have been nice to have seen a bit more in detail about what was actually possessing her. But it like the bad scary monster of the story, which is like so Chloe's dad, who was quite nasty to her from how her mum describes her, the alien, I think, inside of Chloe, whatever it's called, sort of manifests that because that's in Chloe's memories. So as well as Chloe creating, because the Doctor says something like things being created, drawings being created from things, but then also things being created from drawings. So I think that's the whole point where she'd drawn her dad in the wardrobe because it was something that was inside of her. So it was like there's like a two-way street. It's like the kids are being, are disappearing because they're ending up in her drawings, but also her drawings are creating something. It's like a two-way thing. So I would have liked to have seen that earlier on in the story so that we could have seen, because there's that really great sort of suspenseful horror type moment towards the end where Chloe and her mum are trapped inside and Rose is banging on the door and you see the shadow of something walking across the landing.
Yeah.
So that would have been great to have that sort of halfway or 2/3 of the way through the story. And then we got to see what Chloe's dad as this monster figure actually looked like. So that would have like elevated the story to a bit more of a suspenseful, more of a scary-ish type of story. But it just, again, that's something else that's a great concept, but just falls flat. And I know that sometimes that can be really effective. If you don't actually see something directly, your mind makes up what it should look like. And that can be scarier in a way. So in a way, it's okay. But there was I think the story just lacks any kind of visual stuff. It's quite psychological. But and again, I keep flipping between, that's good and that's bad. But in a way, that can be good. But I don't know, the writer of this story...
Matthew Graham. When
this story came under a lot of flack, a lot of people did say that, this is trash and, this is a rubbish episode. And his reply has always been, well, this is aimed more at kids anyway. I don't care that adults don't like it. I've received loads and loads of really nice letters from children who like the episode and stuff. So this is meant for kids, really. That's who this was aimed at. So you can kind of see things were done in a certain way. But, yeah, overall, like you, connecting the dots was not as easy for me at some points.
And I agree with what you're saying, because I think they could have done a lot more with it as well. Like I agree. I think that when you see the dad's shadow coming out at the end, it's a pretty scary moment actually, because he's like, keeps saying, "I'm going to hurt you," which is horrible. I'm going to hurt you, Chloe, and that's quite a scary moment. But I think you could have done so much more with the idea that Matthew and Russell came up with. This, because for example, that thing could have been set loose. And the Doctor could have had to try and find a way to trap it and all this sort of stuff. Chloe Webber spends the whole time in her bedroom. She could have run off and there could have been scenes of the Doctor. We've got to find her. There could have been a lot more urgency and drama in this story. And it didn't need to be big effects wise. They could have just added, you know what I mean? Imagine it. So what if Chloe run off and she's got her pens, you know what I mean? But the Doctor's got to find her because she's gone crazy. And there's loads of stuff they could have done with this. That thing from the wardrobe, the dad, you didn't even need to see it, but it could have escaped. And, it's going wild. There's loads of stuff they could have done because things seem to happen in this story so there's a bit of talking, then we need a bit of action. Then there's a bit more talking. Oh, we need something to happen. There doesn't seem to be any logical reason for things happening in this other than we need something to happen now. So, for example, why does she suddenly decide she's got to steal everyone from the stadium? For no reason. She suddenly gets out of bed. I need to take all these people. And I know that the thing wants more and more. Then she's suddenly drawing the world on the wall and she's going to, make the world disappear. And so I don't know, it just seems like that it didn't feel a natural flow of events, like it didn't build to things. Just things happened when there needed to be sort of 2 minutes of excitement to keep the viewer engaged. You know what I mean? It was just like they're talking. Oh, hang on a minute. The wardrobe's glowing red. Whoa, a bit of excitement. Shut the wardrobe. Let's go and have a chat in the kitchen now. And you know what I mean? It just, the sort of whole flow of the episode seemed a bit uneven to me, really. But I think there's loads they could have done with this. Do you know what I mean? I said, with the thing escaping, and there's lots of potential, I think, in this story, but it just wasn't tapped. And I know that this replaced Stephen Fry was supposed to have written an episode, and that fell through. And so this was a bit of a sort of last minute sort of, we need an episode. We haven't really got any money for it. So, it was a bit of a last minute replacement. So I guess you could sort of take that into account if you like. What I don't understand about that, though, is if this replaced an episode that Stephen Fry was meant to be writing, you'd assume they'd set aside a good budget for a Stephen Fry episode. So why was this made on a shoestring? I don't know. Maybe that money went into another episode when they realised they weren't going to get it in time. I'm sure there's reasons for it. But yeah, this replaced a Stephen Fry story that never, to this day, we've never really heard much about, have we? That other than the fact that he was asked to write one and commissioned or whatever. But we've never heard what that was going to be or anything about that.
No, we didn't hear what the deets were, but
no.
Yes, no, I read you. It's
but plenty of potential, isn't there? In terms of what the idea,
yeah. And there was a point where I thought it was going to go quite dark and horror type. So there's a bit where the Doctor puts Chloe in a sort of trance, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then he starts saying things. I'm addressing now the entity inside Chloe and stuff. And yeah, I did think, wow, this is going to go a little bit sort of Exorcist, and
it does, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But no, and again, that sort of falls flat, you know. It's you know, but so it's kind of disappointing in a few places. I certainly see that. But you know, like many Doctor Who stories, it definitely has that spark there. It has that bit of potential that maybe given more time and a little bit more budget to sort of develop the script a bit further, they could have injected some much more suspenseful scenes and got rid of the quite cliched and happy-go-lucky ending, which is quite nice in a way. But
I still don't know how I feel about. I didn't at the time, and I still don't know now how I feel about the ending. It's very cheesy.
It is,
with the Doctor picking up the torch and lighting the flame and then talking to you. I just don't know. It's sort of, it does work, I suppose, but I also sort of cringe a little bit at it. I've never quite known how I felt about that ending.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit like, hey, it's the Doctor. He's got the torch. He would have been mobbed by security. He wouldn't have even got. You know, but I don't know. But it's just the cheesy side of it, really. I've never been quite sure where I stand on that bit.
Yeah, do you know?
It's all right, but
another feeling that I've got on this story as well is that I feel like this would have been a great Sarah Jane Adventures story.
I kept thinking I was going to say that, but then I did, but I didn't say it because I don't want it to sound like Sarah Jane's second, like, oh yeah, this is good enough for Sarah Jane, but it's not good enough for Doctor Who, because that's not what I mean, and I know it's not what you mean, but it does have that feel about it of perhaps not having the Doctor Who budget, more of a sort of Sarah Jane type, you know, a bit more light-hearted, a bit more aimed at kids' side. It definitely has that feel to it, but I don't mean that in a bad way at all. But yeah, I did think that as well.
Yeah, I just felt I felt like it sort of halfway through. I just very vividly thinking this would be a really good, because I think Sarah Jane would have been a much better sort of investigator and problem solver in this than the Doctor, and it just felt like there wasn't enough substance in there to warrant the Doctor handling this.
Yeah, and you can imagine sort of Clyde doing the bit at the end you can imagine Clyde running in and grabbing the thing and being all, you know, hey, look at me, because he's a bit of a lad, and you can sort of imagine him lighting the torch at the end and being, and all that. Yeah, I definitely could see this working as a Sarah Jane story. If they tweaked a few bits, I think it could have been really good actually as a Sarah Jane. Yeah. Yeah,
good. Yeah.
Mm-mm. What did you? There was something I noticed in the TARDIS when the Doctor and Billy are chatting. And a line at the time, I was like, oh, you know, back in 2006, sort of made me sit up. And I'd completely forgotten about it until I watched it again. It's like, the Doctor says, oh, I was a dad once.
Yes, yeah.
Complete throwaway line. And Rosie's like, what? That's never picked up on, or it's just put in there. And I'm thinking, what's that about?
Yeah, I don't
I was thinking, oh, it could be the Doctor's daughter, but no, because that's many... you know, years later. I mean, you could do timey-wimey, but it still doesn't work. So, yeah, what's he talking about? What's that about?
Do you know what? Yeah, I could be completely wrong here. But I don't think that's ever been... I think in Series 11, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor touched on her having a family, didn't she? Remember in The Woman Who Fell to Earth at the end?
Yeah.
She touches on that and stuff. But the Doctor actually explicitly says in this one, I was a dad, and it like you, mate. I completely forgot about that line, and I sort of sat forward. I was like, "Huh, where are they going with this?" But then I could be wrong, but I don't think they ever touch on it.
No, I remember thinking back in the day, oh, is this going somewhere, because this is just before the series finale, the two-parter, isn't it? This comes just before that. So I was thinking, oh, like Army of Ghosts is the next story. So I was thinking, oh, is this leading into something big? But no, it's just a throwaway line. I can't help but feel that Russell might have put that in. It seems too sort of, I don't know, it doesn't seem, it sort of feels unnatural. It feels like a plot thread that Russell's like, oh, we've got to have this in there because it's in the final. This is going to, I don't know, it just feels like more important than it is. But it's just throwaway line, isn't it? That's just shoved in the middle of this episode. And it's again, even watching it last night, just made me sit up a bit. I was like, oh, I forgot the Doctor said that. Yeah.
I'm racking my brains. I think, didn't Chris Eccleston say So in the Eccleston story, The Empty Child, he does say, do you remember Dr. Constantine, your mate?
Victor Meldrew.
Yeah. He does say that, I'm sure he says in conversation to him actually, that he notes on being a father and a grandfather in the past.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
I'm sure.
I'm pretty...
it could be right.
I could be wrong, but I'm sure that Eccleston's doctor says that to Dr. Constantine in that episode. And then Tennant mentions a very similar thing here. But then I think it's just dropped from that point because maybe they were sort of wandering into territory like we want to keep the Doctor mysterious. We don't want to give away anything of his time on Gallifrey and all that stuff. So I'm not sure, but it definitely made me sit forward though, like you did, and like, what? Hold on.
That?
Forgot about that. Yeah. No, it was good. Okay, let's talk about some characters. So the supporting cast, we have, there were sort of two people who live on the street, or three people, but the main one was the old sort of granny. What was her name? Marv?
Mauve. Yeah.
Mauve.
I recognise her from somewhere.
Somewhere, yes. Yeah, she's been
probably
in something.
Soap or something, yeah.
She was quite good, like the worrying sort of the retired old gran who just spends a lot of her time up and down the street, it seems. You know, her worry came across quite convincingly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought she was quite good because that is the sort of part that can be a bit hammy and you just don't take her seriously. But I thought she was actually quite believable in her. She looked like she was proper scared. So, yeah, I invested in her character in terms of what she was trying to do. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was good.
Yeah, and then we had the guy who was the dad out washing his car with the two. He sort of gives the Doctor a bit of stick when they first turn up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, who are you? Yeah.
Yeah, because there is quite a good scene, actually, where...
I was just going to say that, yeah.
When the Doctor and Rose are there and the council guy who's repairing the potholes in the street, they're all sort of in a circle, aren't they? And they start accusing each other, like...
Hands on lips.
Yeah, the Doctor's, sort of shutting everybody up, yeah.
I thought you were going to say there's a nice scene where the Doctor's just acting weird, but he's sort of doing this thing with his hand, and the Tennant just plays it brilliantly. He's like delighted, isn't he? You can feel you know what I mean? He's on the dad's lawn, and he's just like feeling the atmosphere, and he's just like, oh, and the dad's just beyond him going, can I help you? Like, what are you doing? Sort of thing. And I thought that was a nice scene because Tennant just plays that sort of wonder brilliant when he's doing that in the Doctor. It's like, that alien side of him really comes through.
Yes.
Of like just loving stuff like that. And the outsider just thinking he's a bit weird. So, and then, yes, it does lead into that great scene where he's like, hands on lips. And that's what I mean. There's some really nice moments in this because the granny sort of looks at him as if to say, oh, can I take my fingers on lips, can I take my finger away now to tell you? And he's like, oh, yeah, go for it. And there's some lovely little moments like that in this episode, but just not enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because
people don't remember them. I didn't remember them until I was rewatching it. And I was like, oh, this is really good, this stuff.
Yeah. And Tennant's quite funny in it as well.
He is.
The script is relatively funny because when the guy's dad... Tom's dad, the little child Tom, and then his friend Dale who vanishes. The dad goes over to him, when he's looking in a little goal, little football goal in the front garden, and he's doing that thing with his hand. And he's like, who are you? And he turns around, and I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's like, no, shouldn't have said that. I don't know. He's just, he sort of lies immediately about who he is. But then he's like, yeah, I don't know why. He's got that very deadpan sort of humour. He's really funny.
He says that, I know exactly the bit you mean. He's like, I'm trying to be mysterious or something, but it's not working, or something like that, isn't it?
Really funny.
Yeah, it's a nice line,
Yeah, and then he whips the psychic paper out and all that stuff. So that whole scene's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And the way he diffuses and shuts everybody up, hands on lips, and everyone weirdly just does it, don't they? It's And the way that Rose does it's really funny as well, because she's like, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to play along, sort of.
That's right.
The way she looks at him, the characters of the Tom's dad and the old granny were quite good, I suppose.
For supporting cast, they're okay, aren't they? Yeah.
And then we had the guy called Kel, who was the council worker. He pops up a couple of times in the story.
He does get that great bit, though, doesn't he? I mean, I'm not saying he's like the best actor or anything, but he does bring a good comedy element to the episode when he's doing, you're taking a council axe out of a council van, and I mean, everyone remembers that bit, don't they? And so I do think he's quite good in that sense.
Very proud of his pothole repair. He says to Rose, "Look at it, look how smooth it is.
Look at that,
Look
yeah,
at
I know,
that.
yeah, look at that."
Yeah, he wasn't the best of actors, well, he might be a great actor, but in this particular story, his performance wasn't amazing, but
no,
not too bad, quite funny in places.
He does bring the humour to it, I do like him in it, but yeah.
And then we had Trish, is it Chloe's mum, Trish?
Trish, yeah. No, and again, I recognise her.
Yep.
Yeah, what's she been in? I've seen her in. As soon as she popped up, I was like, oh, she's been in loads of stuff since this was on.
She has, yeah. She's been in loads of things. You see her, she pops up in sort of smaller roles across lots of different things. But
Nina Sosanya.
Sosanya, yeah. She has got a role in the upcoming. Now, there's a really good David Tennant series coming up at the end of March called Good Omens.
Oh yeah.
Which is a televised version of the Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett book, which is really, really good. Who's the guy that Michael Sheen, you've heard?
Yeah.
So him and Michael Sheen's an angel and David Tennant plays a demon.
Right.
And they've been friends secret friends like for thousands of years. And now they've sort of made their home comfortably in these English villages. It's a really funny, great book. And then the Antichrist has turned up and now Armageddon's on the way. And then the two of them sort of have to work together to stop the end of the world because they just love their sort of plain old English lives. And it looks, the trailer's out on YouTube. Just do a search for Good Omens TV show. It's coming out on Amazon Prime, I think, at the end of March. Anyway, sorry, that was just a tenuous link.
But she's in that.
But she's got a part in that and she looks pretty good in there. But she has been in like loads and loads of very well-known TV shows and stuff over the years, but it's quite small parts. Yeah.
I thought she was okay as the mum. I thought she did look a bit scared of Chloe at times and stuff like that. So I think she was trying to underplay it, which is all really good. But maybe that at times, because of the nature of the story, just came across as sort of not giving much oomph to the performance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked a bit more from her, but I think she was just trying to sort of underplay it a bit. But I think she was fine, actually. I mean, she was decent in it.
She was okay.
But yeah, we just would have minded seeing a little bit more oomph, if you like, most of the cast in this. But yeah.
Yeah, she was okay. Yeah, not too bad. And then what about Chloe herself then? Abisola Agbaje. I think I'm saying that right. Child actors on who? I don't know, man.
I don't think she's the worst we've seen, though. I think she was, again, okay. I mean, that's all I can say, really. She's just not bad, not good. And I don't think she's not as bad as I thought. I think a lot of people say, oh, God, she's terrible and she can't act. And I don't think she was that bad. I think when she's doing all the whole possession thing and stuff, and we have seen worse child actors in Doctor Who for sure. Yeah. But I don't think she was too bad. What did you think? Do you think she was bad?
No, I don't think she was particularly dreadful. But I just think it's like a common theme with child actors in Doctor Who. Yeah. It's like the great performances are few and far between. But like you said, she's not the worst that we've had. But at the same time, she was... In actuality, I remembered her being worse than what I saw yesterday when I watched this yesterday.
Oh, yeah, well, I was the same. You see,
sense?
I was thinking, I think she's awful. But then I was watching it yesterday thinking, yeah, she isn't that bad. She's all right.
Yeah.
Like the bit where she's possessed and stuff, she's pretty convincing.
Yeah. And I think my memory of her was worse than what she actually is.
Yes. Definitely. I'm exactly the same, actually. Yeah.
She wasn't too bad, I suppose. Rose Tyler.
I thought she was all right in this, actually. It's funny because in the very first scene, she's a bit screechy, she's a bit sort of giggly and stuff. And I was like, oh, no, Series 2 Rose. But actually, after that initial scene, she's quite good in it, I think. Which, as I said earlier, there's some great scenes between her and Tennant, where they're just sort of larking about. There's none of this sort of lovey-dovey stuff. They're just sort of, although there is one annoying bit when the Doctor saves her and he's like, so he says something, I couldn't hear what he said, something about save your hug or something. He saves her life, so he gives her a hug, and oh dear, that's a bit cringe. But that scene aside, I think they work quite well together in this, and she's quite funny in it as well. All the sort of Lewis and this is my partner Lewis, obviously a reference to Morse and my name's Morse. So there's some great scenes between those two, and there's a bit where the Doctor says, "Oh, I need a hand," and she sort of does this cheeky little laugh in the TARDIS, and it's very natural performance from her. It feels like a genuine laugh, and so I think in terms of her performance, I quite liked her in this one, but more than, again, a bit like Chloe Webber, more than I remember, certainly more than I was expecting, because it's series 2 Rose. But yeah, I thought she was good in it. She works really well with Tennant in this one, I think.
Yes, there's a really good reason why Russell T Davies, if anyone's got the original series 1 box set, DVD box set, the one that's got the see-through sleeve, and then it's the TARDIS that opens out and all that lot. There's a little booklet in there, and it's got a forward or a section by Russell T Davies, and there's a reason why he put so much praise and thanks on David Tennant and Billie Piper, because I think without those two and their chemistry, not just this one, but a few stories would just be as flat as a pancake.
This is one of them.
This is absolutely one of them. And like I said at the beginning, it feels like the cast knew that this wasn't exactly going to set the world on fire in terms of amazing story or budget and that sort of thing. But Tennant and Billie Piper, they just seem to just crack on anyway. It's like, well, we know we're in one street for the entire story, and nothing really crazy is going on. There's no great big aliens in prosthetics running around and all that stuff. However, we're just going to, make the most of it anyway. We're just going to, have a good laugh. And you can see, especially those scenes in the TARDIS, it's not really the Doctor and Rose. It's David Tennant and Billie Piper just having a laugh. You can see that a mile off. You can see that at this point, they're very, very good. They had a very good chemistry outside as well, didn't they? They're very good friends.
I was going to say that scene where she laughs and that does seem very natural. It doesn't feel like a performance. It's as if they've just kept something in from, like an outtake almost. So, I think those two work really, really well together in this particular story, but certainly better than I remembered.
Yeah. And Rose is actually pretty good in this one. I know what you mean by series 2 Rose. She's all over the Doctor at certain times. It's a bit of that. They went down that love interest road a little bit didn't they? So early on with those two. And there that one scene, I think it's when they give a hug and she's like, "We're going to be together forever, you and I," all that lot. And you can see the Doctor's a bit apprehensive. He doesn't want to commit, to them being together forever, because he knows that, bad things pop up.
Well, actually, again, that brings us to the end, doesn't it? When she's like, says that we're going to be together forever, and the Doctor's who's told her she's going to die? Something says the end is coming or something.
Something like that,
yeah. Because she brings it up, and he's like, "Well, don't worry, they were wrong." But the ending to this, and I just have to quickly mention this, which then leads into the next time trailer, the finale. What a trailer!
Oh, correct.
I haven't watched that 2-parter for years. But the ending of this story, where she's sort of talking about, why did he say I was going to die in battle? And Doctor's like dismissing it, but you can see in Tennant's face that he's a bit worried. That then leads into the next time trailer is phenomenal. I was just like, oh, this really, I hate to say this, but I'm going to, but it really takes you back to the glory days. I watched that next time trailer and I just thought, it was so good. Like, I remember seeing this at the time and just like literally could not wait for next week's Doctor Who because of these trailers and what's going to happen to Rose. And, oh my God, is she going to die? She's on looks like she's dying. And it was phenomenal, actually. Even at the end of this, it still got me going. And I know what happened, but it still made me sort of think, man, those were the days. It's absolutely superb.
Yeah, that next time trailer, it does get you in the mood.
It really does. It really did. Honestly, it's a brilliant trailer. And you even see, because you see the Cybermen quite a bit, so you knew they were in it. But I don't think you knew at the time the Daleks were coming back. But you do actually see someone getting shot with a Dalek gun. And I'm thinking that would never be left in under Chibber's watch. You wouldn't even see the Cybermen, would you?
Oh, no, no.
But it's a brilliant, it's a superb lead up to that trailer.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, so I like Rose in this one. She does have a couple of good scenes and I love her chemistry, even though she can be a little sort of edging on the flirty side with the Doctor still and stuff. It's still still good. And then David Tennant, we've mentioned, he's I like how you described it earlier, that some episodes of the Matt Smith era, you can tell that Matt's kind of working his sock, earning his wages that week and really trying to bring the story bring it home, even though they probably know themselves that this is not the strongest script they're going to do this series.
Yeah.
Or further on. But it's like, Tennant kind of feels the same. He knows that it's not amazing, but he's still sort of bringing the bacon.
I thought he was really good on it. And the best way I can describe it really is there's not much meat on the bones for him, but he really makes the most of what he's given in this, I think. Because there really isn't a lot for him to work with in terms of really sort of shining as the Doctor and stuff. But I think he really does. He delivers the humour in this really, really well. There's some really nice lines. He's good. He's always good when he's got to turn from comedy to serious. He always does that well. And whereas if you'd have asked me before, is this a good 10th Doctor story? I would have said, well, no, Tennant's a bit under par in it. That would have probably been what I'd have said. Rewatching it again last night, he's very much not under par in it. Yeah, it's not a great story, but he's very much still he's still very much giving a good performance. I was going to say delightful, but that makes it sound a bit wishy-washy, but it is delightful, like the bit with his hands and he's sort of loving what's going on and all the investigation and all the humour. He is really delightful in it. The reason I said that is because I was going to say firing on all cylinders. No, maybe not. But it is a nice performance from Tennant in this. Certainly not under par like I perhaps thought it was in my memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same for me, mate. Yeah. It's and I think his performance is completely intentional as well. When I've spoken to people about this episode in the past, they've said, "Oh, David Tennant's a bit underwhelming," or he's not quite as we remember him in some other episodes. But I think that's on his part anyway. I think he's playing this exactly how he wants to play it. It's intentional.
Yeah. Just before we wrap up, I'll just quickly ask you two things. I want to ask you what you thought of A, the direction by Euros Lyn, because that name pops up quite a lot, and B, what did you think of Murray's music in this one?
I think the direction was sort of middle of the road for me. There wasn't anything crazy going on. It was quite standard, I would say. Quite static in quite a few places.
Static, yeah.
Yeah, nothing crazy going on. And in terms of music, I can't really remember the music. I think it was okay from what I remember. There was just nothing, no memorable theme in there.
I felt like at times it sounded like Murray had pressed play and walked out the room.
Right.
Because there were scenes where there's sort of talking and it's just this sort of jingly, jangly, plodding music. And I just thought, yeah, Murray's not really, like Sagan, we said he sort of has clearly watched the episode and really seems to sit his music to underline the dialogue. Yeah. With Murray, I do feel like it could be that music, like the music that's playing when they're just chatting, could be anywhere. It sounds like it's from New Tricks. You know what I mean? It's just ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just a generic sort of plodding along piece of music, and it didn't do anything to sort of underscore the dialogue. Like when the mum's talking to Chloe on the bed, she's sort of trying to have a heart-to-heart near the beginning. It's quite a sort of, quite an important scene for those two, but the music just doesn't go with it at all, really. It just sort of jangles in the background, all conversation music, but no, it's a serious conversation. So Murray's music didn't really do it for me, apart from the end when the dad comes down, you see the shadow and he ramps up the horror, and that is when he sort of seems to have come back in the room and gone, oh yeah, we need some dramatic music now because the dad's coming out of the water. So then he's back in the room doing what he does. But yeah, I just thought for the most part, I just seemed to be just sort of plodding along, really. Yeah. So I wasn't blown away by it. Same with direction. I thought it was very standard. It just, like you said, there's shadow at the window, and it's just, that could have been really creepy. You could have sort of zoomed in on it or done something, but no, it's just a static shot of her at the window and sort of thing. And so things like that, yeah, it just felt a little bit flat. Again, these sort of things could have, I think, just if they'd have been tightened up a bit, could have made it a slightly better episode, really.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because when you said, what did I think of the music, I was thinking, oh crap, have I missed some amazing...
No, you didn't. No, very much not. No.
Yeah. No, I haven't got anything else, mate. There was one thing. What was it? Yeah. So, what did you think to the working titles? Would they have been better than this? Because the two of them was Chloe Webber destroys the Earth. Very descriptive. And the second one was You're a Bad Girl, Chloe Webber.
Definitely not the second one.
Definitely not the second one. What about Chloe Webber destroys the Earth? I think that's a bit OTT, really.
It is OTT. Yeah. I kind of like it because it's OTT, but no, I wouldn't have used it. Definitely not. I mean, Fear Her. Yeah, it kind of works actually. Fear Her. It's I think they went with the right choice. Definitely.
Yes, I think so. So overall, mate, nothing else to say. I do quite like I just wish they'd explored the possession part of it a bit more before they revealed the whole, what they called the little things, the Isolus, those little flowery alien things.
Yeah.
Quite a nice little thing, but more suited for Sarah Jane for me.
And they could have done a lot more suspense and action. Like Chloe could have escaped. They could have had to try and get the rocket ship at the exact moment, but Chloe's running around. There's so much more they could have done, but they didn't.
Okie dokie, Scores. It's you to go first, buddy. What are you saying?
Yeah, it's quite an easy one for me. It's a very, very middle of the road story. And so I'm just giving it a 5.
A 5, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's awful. I could certainly just put it on and watch it, but I wouldn't reach for it.
No, I read you.
So 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just because I think there's, I just really like the Doctor and Rose in this one together. I think their chemistry is really, really good. But no more than that. I think it's just a par for the course. I think with Doctor Who, sometimes the potential is there for sure. Like I can imagine like the writer's room and all those guys sitting around talking about it. The ideas probably sounds amazing, but weeks or months later when budget's decided and all that stuff, it translates into, we can't do all that stuff we spoke about, so we're going to have to chop it and do all that. So the potential was there. It just feels a bit flat.
Yeah.
What did our great listeners think, though? Our regular audio reviewer, Sammy Sadine from Down Under, had this to say.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Sadine here. So, Fear Her. It's kind of dated now that 2012 Olympics are in the past. Still don't know why they couldn't get David in his doctor's costume to carry the torch into the stadium or something. I don't mind this story. Yes, it has holes, but it's watchable. I think I feel a bit sorry for poor Chloe and her mum. Chloe's dad doesn't sound very nice. I think the story needed a bit more fleshing out, but overall, I like it. I give it 7 Scribble creatures out of 10. See ya.
7?
The Scribble creature. Yeah, cheers, Sammy. Be cool. Shane never made one of those as a toy. Imagine having that on your desk.
The effect wasn't that amazing either when he rubs out the...
Oh, I know.
Money. Over on Twitter, our writer Jordan Shortman said, terrible. The script is bland. There's bad acting from everyone involved. And it's obvious this is just a filler episode before the climax at the Canary Wharf. Tennant and Piper looked bored throughout. That's the terrible Scribble monster. And Chloe Webber is awful. Not a favourite. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, Jordan.
Charlotte Stinson says, I found it quite boring. The Scribble creature they used was pointless. The one thing I did enjoy is how Rose gets to solve everything without the Doctor. It just felt like filler before the finale, in my opinion. A 4 out of 10. Sir Jake B says, I think I'm the only person on the planet who doesn't actually mind this episode. It's not great by any means, and some of the acting is questionable, but I think it's all right. A 5 out of 10.
Same as me.
Yeah, TARDIS Files HQ, by far the weakest of Series 2. It's a nice idea, I guess, but it just screams filler. The cliffhanger leading onto Army of Ghosts, though, is really nice. The story itself, though, not so much. A 3 out of 10. Our good friend Neil Brighton Moon says, a rare beast in it. It's a really weak Tennant era story. I think it's I think I've seen it once and have no desire to watch it again. Tennant does his best to bring it up, but the story really isn't very good. The main child actor really struggles and honestly becomes annoying. 4 out of 10. Edward Giluli, one of the worst episodes of Who ever.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's a cheap filler episode made when the budget had run out. The Scribble monster is terrible. Thankfully, the 2012 Olympics were better than portrayed in this. Easily Tennant's worst story, a 2 out of 10.
2, wow.
The Who Society. I'll admit this story is way too overhated. It's got nice concepts and Rose and Ten work really well. It's so obvious that this was aimed at the younger audience. I do feel it just tones everything down before the dark finale, but the child acting and the Olympics isn't the best. A 6 out of 10.
6, okay.
There's a Twitter account called the Fear Her Appreciation Society.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, best episode of Doctor Who ever.
Not sure.
Not sure on that one, but I admire your society being set up and run for this particular episode. Very, very cool. Cecilia Brown, while at times this episode made me cringe, I wouldn't say it was overall a bad thing. I enjoyed this episode, definitely has its moments that made me smile, and that's worth a lot to me. Not the best episode, but I give it a C+ type of grade, maybe a B- if I'm generous. Thank you very much. Let's rattle through a few more of these. Owen Daly, Fear Her was my very first proper story. I remember watching it on BBC 3 10 years ago last month. It's not a great story, but I just fall in love with it due to my connection. The wardrobe monster still creeps me out, and the ideas are good, but a little shabby on screen.
Yeah.
So your very first episode, interesting.
It is, yeah.
What else have we got? Genesis of Androzani says, it's crazy how similar this is to The Idiot's Lantern. Both set in a street, both low-budget fillers, both take you onto a surface, e.g. TV or drawing, and both are pretty darn bad. It's the Toys R Us version of The Idiot's Lantern. Objectively terrible, still has enjoyable moments, a 4 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Over on Facebook, Chloe Anderson, I really like this episode. An easy watch, fairly good story, and it's not too often my name is used for a character. 7 out of 10.
7.
Dan Pin, I think the concept of a child's drawing coming to life is really good, but it's a real filler episode though. Hate the cheesy London 2012 ending with the Dr. Light and the Olympic Torch, 2 out of 10. Callum Shepley, quite an underrated episode with an interesting concept, has a strange side cast in a good way. It's just a bit of a silly story, but lots of fun, 5 out of 10. Patrick Bougard, good Lord, this was a struggle. I paused it twice to go and get stuff around the house because I feel like it was just dropping in and out of the story. I never noticed the Dalek gun in the next time snippet.
No, me either. No, not till last night.
The Olympic Games felt like a tedious plug used to try and build excitement or something that was nothing to do with Doctor Who. I'm not the biggest fan of New Who, but this one was really appalling. Filler, a 1 out of 10.
A 1?
Yeah, Charlie Turner, the worst episode of Series 2, hands down, a 3 out of 10. Miles Mackenzie, the concept sounds great on paper, but this was pulled off horribly for me, a 2 out of 10. Lawrence Baxter, I like the episode. I think it's an easy watch with some big moments thrown in, like the Doctor saying he used to be a dad. It's strange to see an episode from 2006 set in 2012 today, but it holds up really well. The Doctor running with the flame is a bit much, though. And lastly, Martin Arnold said, haven't watched season 2 in a long time. Should be good. I'm not sure if you still feel that way about watching it, Martin, but yes. So thank you very much, guys, for putting your thoughts over. I think it's a sort of unanimous poor episode amongst fandom, which we knew already. But I think, if you haven't seen it in a long time, like we haven't, I can't even remember the last time I watched it before yesterday. If you haven't watched it in a long time, normally we say, give it a watch. There's loads of cool stuff. I probably wouldn't say that about this one. There's not too much in here to sort of change your mind on it, so to speak, but it's not the worst episode, I would say.
No, I wouldn't put it in the worst category. I can think of ones that I really wouldn't want to watch again. If this was on the TV, I wouldn't switch it off.
So thanks again. And next week we're travelling over to the Sarah Jane Adventures. What have we got next week, dude?
Yeah, so now, how do we pronounce this? The Mark of the Berserker, is it?
That's it.
Berserker.
Yeah.
The Mark of the Berserker, yeah.
Yes.
No idea what that's about. Never seen it before. Can't wait. Love Sarah Jane.
Yes, I'm really loving it. I was saying to somebody at Comic-Con at the weekend that from this point on, every episode of Sarah Jane I've not seen. So this is all new and fresh to me. So it's amazing watching these all because it's funny because everyone's like, what? You've never seen any of these before?
I know.
What's wrong with you? And I'm like, I know, it's all fresh. So they're like, oh, you've got some great times ahead. So I'm really looking forward to some Sarah Jane next week. So
yeah, me too.
The Mark of the Berserker. Get your DVDs out. Get that watched. Or Blu-ray. Is this series on Blu-ray of Sarah Jane?
No.
Okay.
Not this one. No, only from series 5, I think, or 4.
Right, yeah. But yeah, Sarah Jane next week, and I think we're going to wrap there, mate, for 222.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 222 2, that's right. Very barren on the news front. Really not much to say, really, in the world of Doctor Who, but some cool merch items trickling through, which is nice. Really excited for the Robert Harrop statues.
Indeed.
They look very, 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 very good. Next week, as we said, Sarah Jane Adventures, The Mark of the Berserker. Get that watched, because as usual, we'll be asking for your thoughts and opinions on that. So you can send them over on whatever channel you like. There's a post that goes out every Monday on social media. So reply on there, or send us an audio clip up to a minute max. We love playing those out. That'd be good. In the meantime, head over to the website www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our previous shows on there, and there are buttons to link off to the various podcast networks if you want to give us a sub, so you can listen to it every Friday morning when it will land in your queue. And there's also buttons there to link off to the various social networks. Give us a like and a follow over there. We chat plenty of Doctor Who during the week, so get involved and we'll have a chat on there. Check out my co-host's YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah.
Loads of cool videos over on Adam's channel. Just do a search for The Geek's Handbag, give him a sub, give him a like on his videos. Loads and loads of really cool stuff. And Adam is also on all of the various social networks under the same name. Just do a search for The Geek's Handbag. Come and get involved during the week. Chat lots of nonsense about Doctor Who and all sorts. It's all
certainly do. Yeah.
We will see you next week for episode 223. Until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...